So now this is another concept about modules that you have to learn. So how do we access the resource that will be created by a module in another module, right? So basically we want to access the subnet ID of the subnet resource that is being created by this module here. And the way we do that is, first of all, let's go back to our subnet module. And the first thing we need to do, we need to basically output the subnet object, right? So it's kind of like exporting the subnet object so that it can be used by other modules. And the way we do that is very simple, using the output component. So in the outputs.tf of our subnet module, we are going to define output, and we can call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it subnet because we are exporting the whole subnet object, or we are outputting the whole subnet object. And the value is going to be AWS_subnet dot the name of our subnet. So this will basically output the whole object, right, that will be created in this module. And now that we have defined this output here, we can actually access the subnet object by referencing the output. So again, it is like exporting the object and then referencing that object by the export name. So I'm going to grab that name of the output that we defined. It could be anything. I just call it subnet. And now we can reference that subnet in the instance resource, which is in another module, using the following syntax. So right here in subnet ID, this is basically the object that we need, which is exported here. And we can reference that object using the output name. However, because it's being created by module defined here, which is called myAppSubnet, the syntax is going to be module. So we're referencing one of the resources of a module. And then we need the name of the module. Let's actually just copy that. The name that we assigned the module. So module, the name. And now we want to reference the output name like this. And this will basically give us the object, right? So it will go to the module with this name, and one of its resources is exported as an output using name subnet. And then this will give us the subnet object, and we can call all the attributes on that subnet object. And we need its ID. So we are referencing the ID. So this is how you can access the attributes or objects created from resources defined in another module. And let's now actually check whether we have any other references to subnet or internet gateway or the route table. So I'm going to scroll up. Let's see, the security group actually just has the VPC, which we have available right here. So that's fine. The AMI doesn't have any dependencies, and it's just the instance, right? So everything actually looks fine. It was just the subnet that needed referencing because we have subnet defined in another module, and it looks good. And now with these changes, let's actually apply this configuration and see that everything still works. So in order to run this now, first we'll have to do Terraform init. And the reason is that whenever we change something in the module, an existing module, or create a new module, for example, we have to run Terraform init. So before we do Terraform apply, we're going to do Terraform init. And as you see, initializing modules, my app subnet in modules/subnet. and it's done. Now you see that there's no output for the web server module that we also created, right? The reason for that is because we're not referencing the web server module here. So basically Terraform detects that we are referring to a module called myapp-subnet, and this is where the module actually lives. So that's where we're specifying. So it basically only tries to find and initialize that module, but it doesn't know anything about the web server module. And the initialization was successful. It actually also says as a note here that if you ever set or change modules or backend configuration for Terraform, rerun this command to reinitialize your working directory. So basically, if you forget to do Terraform init and do Terraform apply, you will be reminded, right? Terraform will tell you first initialize because you have module changes. And now let's actually execute Terraform plan so we can see a preview of what Terraform will do or what changes, and we shouldn't see any errors, hopefully. And there you go, we see the preview. Again, I have deleted everything in my AWS account, so we see a bunch of resources that will be created. So we have the security group, my app server, VPC, and here are the resources from the subnet module, right? We have the route table configuration, internet gateway, and here is our subnet. Let's actually execute this and also make sure that all of this still works. And there you go, we have the output, a successful output that 7 resources got created. Let's actually refresh our instances. And there you go, we have one server that is up and running and being currently initialized. And we see the 2 outputs. Now, again, important to note here that we are seeing outputs of the root module, right? So let's actually do ls here. This is the root module that we are in, and this is our main.tf, where we executed the Terraform apply from, and we actually see the outputs defined in this module, right, from this file. So the outputs that we define in the module is actually a way to export values of different resources defined in those modules if we want to access them and their attributes in the main module, right? Which is great because they kept it consistent, so you have the same syntax for doing that use case as well as just outputting the values as a result.